Howdy, hackers, and welcome to another episode of FairLight TV. Normally in the episodes I tend to have like a clear theme. This time it's a bit of odds and sods with a bit of a thing in the end. So stick with us the entire episode this time to watch the end, because there will be something that is sort of new-ish. Yeah, the cliffhangers, you need to throw them in there to ensure that people watch till the end. So again, being odds and sod, the first thing I would like to show you is this. So it's Demo Scene, the Amiga Years, Volume 1. This is this is a book about Amiga demos. It's a very impressive and thick piece of work. It's originally written in French, I think, because it says it's being translated. It's by Christophe Boucourt, I guess that would be pronounced, and it's translated by Tuan Nguyen and Nick Lines. It's published by a company called Edition 64K. Yeah, again, very, very nice book. And then I ordered also the follow-up book, which is this one. Yeah, and again, this one is green, so you don't see it, you see through. But again, sorry about that. You've seen the effect on the green screen before. Yeah, so this would be the AGA years, more like 94 to 96, and it's really impressive to see how the sort of the number of demos per year increased during that period of time. This is translated by Nick Lines and Oliver Nottingham. Well, whatever. Yeah. So so two different translators. The original book and the second one is not the same. And just for your entertainment, we're going to take a very random look at a few of the places here. The first one, oh yeah, that happens to be Mega Demo 3 by... Sorry, you don't hear it when I talk through the book. So this is Mega Demo 3 by FairLight and North Star. So what you see here is, yeah, first of all, the loading screen, and then one of the screens by Exelon, and then the Cactus and Mahoney, 2 pages or 2 screens from them. First of all, the yeah, a big scroller, and then the blue one. And a number of sort of random screens, and there is sort of a description on all of it, and a little talk about Celebrandil, who you might have seen in the episode we published from the FairLight 35-year cruise. He was part of the sort of the video part in the very end there. Blah 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 blah. Oh yeah, there is this as well. There is an interview with Mahoney and an interview with Atom. The interesting part here is that it says Mahoney FairLight, and as I've talked to Pex about this a number of times, Mahoney was never in FairLight. We sort of considered him close enough to be almost a member, but he's quite adamant that he was never a member, or at least officially not. So yeah, there you have it. Yeah, really cool. And there is also the reference to Mahoney being a handle picked from the old Police Academy movies. And yeah, well, not everybody is super proud of the story around their handle, but again, there are 2 Finnish guys being Mr. Sex and Dr. Dick, so whatever you're calling yourself now, and if you've stuck with it for a number of years, it couldn't be more embarrassing than that, so why not keep it? Another random deep dive into this would be 242, also by FairLight. Yes. So this was the time when we had sort of a demo section called Virtual Dreams. headed by Dr. Skull and his team. Yeah, there is an interview here with a guy called Alien here on this side. And then there is a talk to Juha, Dr. Skull. Yes. It has so this demo was sort of they're filming a guy, one of the members, and they're going into record shop and they're picking up a record by Front 242. And I guess that's why you have the name 242, and they had a very cool, for the time, video compressor for it. So basically they could do like a live video even on a very small Amiga disc. Yeah, and another random deep dive into this book is another stuff that is a FairLight thing. It's Full Moon. Again, this time the entire code is by Dr. Skull. Yeah, very nice. Yeah, just showing you a number of the pictures here and this. There is also here on this side, there is an interview with Danko. So Thomas Danko, also known as Danko of FairLight, he has a long history on the scene, but since a number of years he's been a very dedicated FairLight member and dedicated beer maker and dedicated beer drinker. So and yes, this is a super nice page. So Jed's ANSI graphics and our classic C64 intro. Illustrating the interview with Danko here. So you should really get this book and read all of those and a number of other things. I've of course been very biased when picking the stuff from the book, but these are a few of the things you can find in there. So demo scene, the Amiga years. Some random pickings here would be Love by Virtual Dreams and FairLight. So again, code by Dr. Skull. This became number first in South Zealand 1994 Amiga demo competition. Let's have a look at the other pages here. There was also a bit of a talk with Dr. Skull on this and more stuff. I have only read this very briefly, so. This is something else. And now a random other pick. Oh, it's actually something by Virtual Dreams and FairLight. So this is psychedelic, and here there is a saying that Dr. Skull was. This is sort of his last demo, and he became second on the Party 1994 Amiga demo competition, and I think this is. Oh yeah, so he was. This is the demo that he crunched, and it fit on the disc, but you couldn't have like a startup sequence because the disc was absolutely full. And I remember I just sat like the table next to him, so and he was totally devastated because it wouldn't run, and it would run if you typed sort of the file name from the DOS prompt, but you couldn't have like an automatic start of the thing. I didn't remember how that ended, but I tried to help him at the time, but I couldn't really. So it seemed that he cut a bit of the scroll text, and that made it sort of fit better, so he can have a startup sequence, I guess. So and I take absolutely zero credit for this. This is an amazing guy. He's done wonderful stuff for Virtual Dreams and FairLight, and he's also done wonderful stuff for the general community. He worked for NVIDIA in Finland for a number of years, and also a number of the game companies, and produced absolutely brilliant stuff there. So Dr. Skull, you are one of my favorite potential guests. I would really like to have an interview with you where we go through one or a few of your old demos, where you comment what you've done there and all of that. So if somebody has the means to push you to participate, I've tried to reach out on all the channels I have. So I would really love to see that. And another random thing would be Sumia Factory 2 by Virtual Dreams. This one just says Virtual Dreams. It doesn't say FairLight, but it is indeed a FairLight one as well. That one sort of gives it away, doesn't it? So. Yeah, that was it. In a number of the places, I should have shown. There is also this. So there is a QR code where you can scan that one, and that one takes you to a YouTube video that shows the demo. So it's really convenient. You can read about it here, you can see it, and if you want to see also the videos don't really come across in books, but this is sort of a link to a real live video where you can also see that. So really impressive work. I mean, if you look at this, that's a mouthful. That's really a lot. It looks super nice, and I should have them like this. So they also look really nice on your bookshelf because they're printed in a very... So this is more like a copper color, and this is more like a silver color. So yeah, the copper year was the volume 2, and the silver years was volume 1. The conclusion of that must be that the golden years must have been prior to 1984, wouldn't it? Okay, that was that. The next segment of this is the comment on the previous video, the video from Gubbdata. So it came really late, and we're truly sorry about that. The issue was that I've taken my videos using my GoPro and store them on my computer, and that was sort of syncing on using the Wi-Fi at the party. But I put them on the disk rather late, so it seemingly didn't sync fully. And then I went to my summer house, and I had the computer in my bag and didn't really open it until over a week later. So Torsten, who edits the stuff, didn't receive it until very late, and they were incomplete. So he saw them as erroneous, which was very troublesome for him. So I was on mobile internet when I tried to sync them again, and Torsten is also on mobile internet. I guess you've heard the story that his house burned down, so he lives in a sort of temporary accommodation until the new house is up and running again. TNG Johan has been helping or instrumental in trying to convey the data, but if I haven't uploaded them, you can't really convey them. So yeah, sorry about that. It took really long, but I think the result was absolutely brilliant. There are a number of comments that I should potentially also share with you. There was a video shown. They took the stream off, so it wasn't streamed. It was only shown to the people locally there. It was of me and 6 of Genesis Project, where they have my picture and his picture sort of talking to one another. So it's a sort of a deep fake AI thing where my voice is very close to my real voice. I could distinctly hear that it wasn't me talking, but 6's voice was absolutely perfect, and I basically couldn't tell it apart from his voice. But and others would say that my voice was absolutely perfect in relation to how I talk. But yeah, I'm sort of an expert on my voice, so I guess I guess. But it was really, really good. There is no reason to say anything else. It was really, really good. So there was sort of us having a conflict and eventually making up and eventually getting married in the end. super fun, but the author of that video didn't want it spread. So I have a video where I filmed the screen where that video is played. I don't have the original, so I just have that. But in order to respect the original author of that video, I have not spread sort of my shitty copy of it. But if the original author is interested in sharing it, I'm happy to publish it here. And because I found it to be hilarious, and I really don't mind sharing it, even if it's sort of picking on me and to some extent also Six. I have sort of that self-distance where I can allow people to make fun of me and still enjoy it. So if you're interested in sharing that with me and also with the permission to share it with the world, then that will be widely appreciated. But until then, it's not shown here for the reason of respecting the original author, not because I wouldn't accept sort of mocking at my expense. Also, there was one person at the party who was asking not to be part of the video. And I think there is a comment in the video as well. It might not be totally clear to everybody because the font was rather small, but Hedning, the main organizer of the party, asked not to be included. And of course, we respect that. So we took sort of all the steps we possibly could to ensure that he wasn't there. And there are aspects of this which makes it sort of difficult because he was the main organizer, and of course it would be interesting to talk to him because it's sort of his party, and he was also the one presenting all the results, so you couldn't have sort of the presentation of the results. So yeah, it was a bit of a shame that Hednik didn't want to participate, but again, we fully respect that, and again, you are doing a super great work, David. Please keep doing that. We love you for it. And we love you for it. And we love you for being a very nice person as well. But this is not negatively contributing to how we feel about you. And there is a constant theme where I'm nagging on Genesis Project every now and then. And that's not likely to change. There is a history of them being responsible for the protection of Gollum and the Sarge's game Rubicon, and it's being sort of a urban legend by now. But it leaked from there, and it was cracked by Genesis Project, or they distributed the copy they received prior to any sort of protection. So. And there is a bit of a rivalry around that, and we try to entertain that to ensure that never goes away. Somebody might get bored about the story, but we try to entertain it to ensure there is still an edge around that. It's still fun. Nobody really cares about the actual topic now. It's sort of the rivalry and the trash talk between ourselves that is the important part. So don't take it too seriously, but the scene needs sort of the competition, and I'm sure Genesis Project can take it. And if I was arrogantly picking on somebody sort of smaller, it would be plain rude. But Genesis Project is sort of, it's not picking on somebody that much smaller. We're picking on somebody who can reasonably take it. So you will forever hear me nag about Genesis Project and the arrogant way that OMG is acting, and the backstabbing activity of cracking Rubicon. So my ambition of the party was a number of aspects. First of all, drinking beer with buddies and having a good time talking to people I haven't met in a number of years, actually, because this was the first one after the pandemic. But then also on my way south, I was taking the train this time because my wife had the car. I had a sort of an idea of a demo thing I wanted to do, and I convinced Fegelhus and TNG to help me in that. So Fegelhus was doing the music, and TNG was doing the graphics for it. And so in the last part of the well, just prior to the competition deadlines, we were working intensely to concluding it, but we never really did it. So our thing was shown later, but it wasn't finished, and the syncing between the music and the text that is shown wasn't proper, so it was never spread. So I agreed with Hedning not to spread it and give us time to fix it. So the thing you will see at the very end here is the final production. So it will be first released here, and then we will upload it to CSDB after this. So you should be able to see it on like real hardware and wherever you want to experience it, if you don't want to see just this. So just to give you sort of a context, Lund, where Gubbdata was held, that is the academic city in the south of Sweden. Sweden basically has like two traditionally old university. One is in Uppsala and one is in Lund. And if you've gone to one of them, you favor that one. And because I'm also from the south of Sweden, I of course favor I favor Lund and wouldn't even recognize Uppsala as a university city. But again, that's me. That's sort of the same sort of picking as picking on Genesis project. Eslöv is like a nearby farmer's town, some 20 kilometers north. So students in Lund, they form houses, not skolor. I think houses is sort of the best term for it. Anybody who is drinking in Lund, not being sort of studying in one of the universities, are commonly referenced as being members of Eslövs nation, sort of the house of Eslöv. And one of the old clubs when I was studying, Krogen, that was a place where people who weren't students went. So that was called Eslövs nation as well. And it was said to be a place where people were dancing with their wooden clogs. Yeah. I'm sure we can use the space here, or Torsten already used the space to show you the picture of a map showing the distance between Eslöv and Lund, and also pictures of the wooden clogs. Not the one they have in Holland, which are all wooden, but the one with sort of a leather top. Right, and one of the other, so that is sort of the geographical context and the view from Lund on Eslöv. But there have been several anonymous submissions to Gubbdata Compos from the group Eslöv, spelled ESL0W. So it's quite clearly referencing Eslöv, the little urban, not urban, the little village Eslöv there. One year that was delivered on a tape. In a tape deck where they had glued the lid so it couldn't be opened. It was sort of a physical unit containing the data, but you couldn't explore it any further because it was glued to one piece. Yeah, there will be a link to the Eslöv list of releases. I think they are all on Gubbdata. I should have checked that. I don't remember that. But I referencing when I'm thinking of Eslöv, I'm thinking of the stuff that they delivered on Gubbdata. So my idea here was to do the 60s song called 24 Hours from Tulsa, because the Swedish translation is 15 minutes from Eslöv. And my idea was that would be a sort of a crowd pleaser, sort of alluding to the Eslöv, and also, because of the reference to Eslöv, I thought that was going to be a fun thing. And the basic idea here was to include the original 24 Hours from Tulsa, and also the Swedish version by Östen Warnerbring. But we are not really sure about sort of copyright here, so I'm not really keen to ensure that we include it and then get the video banned for some reason. So down below you will see links to the original version and also the Swedish version. The Swedish version, so the original one is sort of very traditional. This is the guy that is on his way to his loved one. He stops for the night in a hotel, meets somebody else, and things go south from there. So he will never return to his sort of original destination, his loved one in Tulsa. Yeah, the Swedish version is really cute. So there is this guy, he's on his moped on his way to Eslöv, but the carburetor, there is crap in his carburetor, skit I förgasaren. So he pulls the moped to a petrol station where the manager is a girl, and she fixes the moped and then also checks up on his spark plug. And after that, there was no point of return. That is a lot cuter than the original sort of cliche story. So what I did on the train, I coded a routine that would show parts of the text, and then at the beginning of that, I had sort of a time mark when that would be displayed. But and then Fegelhus did the music, and we started syncing, and it became rather a hassle to sort of derive the time marks for this. So he realized that in I think it's Cheese Cutter, the sound program he's using, there is a way where you can use sort of the volume register. If you set the volume register to something which is bigger, 10 or bigger, it's copying that to a destination in the player. So that is a good way to sort of communicate to something external. Just pull that value and do whatever you want, because you are now on that particular place in the music routine. So what he did was introduce something which sort of toggled. So I pushed a new text line when there was a change in that register. But and at that stage it was sort of complete. So we had it shown after the compo and all of that. But there was a total miss-sync between the text and the music. So when we lost sync, it was totally lost, and that was quite obvious for the people trying to sing with the tune. So we changed it now. So what you see now, I am taking the value fed by the music routine and displaying the text or the string with that index. So now Fegelhus is in total control over which string is supposed to be shown at what point in the music. I hope that works fine. I should also, lastly mention here that I wasn't aware of this, but when I Googled to prepare for this, there is already an entry for Gubbdata for 2020 by a guy called Zapac. And there will be a link down below as well, and I think we might even squeeze in a little bit of his song here for a reference. He's doing basically the same thing. He's showing the text, but sort of in a big block rather than just small lines. And he also has a little cute animation of somebody pulling his moped towards a girl, or I think it's a girl, or towards another person. Presumably that is the girl. So enough of me talking. This is everything you are getting this week. Except for the two things what we will show you now. One being Zapac's interpretation of the song, and then you will see our interpretation of the song. So see you next time, hopefully in a week, but it's summertime, so you never know. I might be doing other things, so we might get to a more regular schedule at the start of autumn. So bye-bye.